Well, I'd like to welcome you to this course on bullying. Bullying perplexes us. In fact, it mystifies us, especially those of us that are helper types that are in the education system. It goes against our grain. We can't make sense of it. And that is exactly what I'm going to try and do in this course. My goal, my objective, the whole purpose of this course is to make sense of bullies, because we can't really truly address something we don't understand. So I'll try to unfold for you the dynamics that have slowly come together for me over many years to put together the puzzle piece of bullying. Now, bullying has become a serious problem. Its impact has always been serious for those bullied, but now their numbers seem to be increasing. Evidence is pouring in about both the prevalence of bullying as well as the impact of bullying. We're hearing research all the time. In fact, it's even affecting those that are simply in a wounding environment. The cortisol levels go up. Brain development can be affected. We're finding out much more about the impact of bullying it can have in a classroom, in a school, in a home, and so on. Bullies have always been with us in every arena. I remember my first experience actually with the impact of bullying was not myself. Actually, I was impacted, but not seriously. In elementary school, I met very quickly in grade 1, Nick, Jim, and Butch. And a large part of my life in school was figuring out where they would be in recess, so I wasn't there. Where they were going to be at lunchtime, and then I wasn't there. And there were ditches on the way to school, and so they're a favorite. Bullies love to put you in ditches and take away your lunches. And so a large part of my attempts to stay out of harm's way had to do with these kinds of things. I had a dear friend in elementary school that wasn't so lucky. He couldn't stay out of harm's way. Later on, we'll go into why it is that many people can't stay out of harm's way. Many kids can't. And the bullies were able to con him, to trick him, and Nick, Jim, and Butch made his life absolutely hell. By grade 3, he had what, as kids, was reported as a nervous breakdown and never came back to school. When I started out my professional career, my very first client as an intern, as a fresh out of university psychologist, was a young adult with severe obsessive compulsive disorder. And when we push back to the very beginnings of this, it was of a year of tremendous bullying. And we know now, of course, we're very aware of the suicides that are linked to bullying. And so there's no doubt that the impact is huge, but it is increasing. It seems to be increasing in our society, and in session 3 at least, we'll be going to look at some of the reasons why. My own professional experience with bullies themselves started very, very soon after I received my doctorate. I worked in a federal penitentiary. Basically, everybody was there was either a bully or a victim, a scapegoat, and that included, unfortunately, many of the correctional officers. And then I went into provincial corrections, young adults, and that was true as well. And then finally worked for several years with young offenders. And I met the Nick, Jim, and Butches that I had seen in elementary school. The prison was full of them. I worked in 3 youth prisons, and it's estimated that about 80% correlation between delinquency at that point, at least in the adolescents, are bullies. It certainly was my experience that, once again, everyone in that particular, those prison systems were either bullies or victims. And it was at that point that I was very curious about trying to figure out what made them tick, to try and make sense of the bullies from inside out. Their psychology was so different than mine. I had great difficulty understanding them, comprehending them. Why would they prey on the weak when my whole profession was to help the weak? Why would they pick on the vulnerable when my whole fantasies, all of the things that I had done were to become a helper and to help the vulnerable? What kind of psychology could account for this? What had happened in their lives? And so that's what I hope to spell out in this course, to again understand them from inside out. Now we know that the bullies exist in every arena of life. The bullies exist in husbands can bully wives, and wives husbands. Priests, their parishioners, and parishioners, their priests. Parents bully children, and children can bully their parents. And they're in every arena. They are particularly prevalent in high places, in politics, and anywhere where there are high places. And that will make sense as we go later on, after the first session, to make sense of the bully. So once again, the issue is making sense of the bully from inside out. Before we can address a problem, we have to understand the problem. The particular perspective that I am speaking from is an attachment-based developmental perspective. And we're looking here at far more than behavior. We're looking at to make sense of their nature. What is it that accounts for the mean streak in human nature? Why do some have it more than others? Do all of us have the potential for this? And can it occur from time to time? But what is it that accounts for this dark side of human nature? And is there a way to change the bully spots? If we understand what it is that leads to this characteristic, can we reach deep enough to make a true difference? Not only change the spots a bully operates in, those we can do and we know how to do, but can we actually change the bully spots, the bully's character from inside out? And I'm going to suggest that we can. My experience is that we can, but again, we have to know. We have to know what's involved. And so we'll begin, but I'll begin first of all by presenting to you very briefly the four theses that are the most common in the field today about making sense of the bully. The four theses. So these are four prevailing explanations for bully behavior, for the bully dynamic. The first, and this is a very, very common thesis, is the power thesis. That somehow this has to do with a power imbalance. This is the only theory of dominance that is in the field, and that has to be answered. What has to be answered is, why is there such an absolute need to be on top, to be superior, to have the last word, to be able to win every battle, alpha battle? Why is that the need? And actually the power thesis is the only other thesis, other than the one I'm going to suggest to you today and explain, that actually accounts for this. And this thesis was articulated by Nietzsche, and it was popularized by Adler. And it is that power is the preeminent need, the preeminent drive of all humans. And so we have to be careful about power. We have to try and don't give opportunities for individuals where they can abuse power, because bullying is a result of an abuse of power, a power balance, a power imbalance. And so this is this again is one of the most common explanations that is used today. Many of the definitions of bullying start there. There's some problems with this. Is that once you understand bullying, you realize that the powerless bully as well. You can have a 2-year-old that attempts to bully a 16-year-old. You can have a little puppy that attempts to bully, or a little kitten that attempts. You have bullying that exists without any power imbalance whatsoever. Another problem is it defines it by the existence of a victim. And so only when you have a victim can you define the bully. This goes backwards, actually. We don't like this in psychology, because this is a backwards definition. And in fact, when I was writing up a project on bullying and doing research for this project, I had many adults who would come to me and say, oh, I've got stories to tell about bullies in my life. And I had a number of them tell me about their girlfriends and about their bosses who were bullies. And in these cases, I knew these individuals well, and I knew that that was most unlikely the case because these individuals found everybody in their life bullying them. The problem with these individuals is they gave their power away. And when they gave their power away, they were controlled by whoever it is that did it. But what it did is because of experience of a victim, they perceived a bully in others. And these are falsely accused. This is one of the problems with the power thesis, is you get these false accusations.